If you're a small business owner watching this and Google traffic is slowing down, it's AI overviews, guys. People are going to AI.
Google is de-indexing content that is just the same as everything else.
Google in general, Google search is becoming much more of an answer engine, an ask engine when it comes to you're communicating with Google.
These are great statements, but now what do I do with it?
This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe and let's geek out on AI.
Okay, we're jumping right into this episode because we've been jamming in the background a little bit, and we're not even giving you a welcome right now. If you're a small business owner watching this and Google traffic is slowing down, it's AI overviews, guys. People are going to AI. They're not keyword searching. And even Google Maps is like, I tell these guys all the time, and I tell all my clients and on all of my coaching programs and everything I do, go watch the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, or at least look at the movie poster, because that's what I'm using as my gimmick, because it is now an Everything Everywhere All at Once engine. So your traffic is slowing down because you're not authentic enough. And AI is really trying to be real. It's saying who really should get top dog position in your marketplace, or wherever you target, whoever your target is, based on what is actually put out there. Right. So how do you get to that point? Modernize all your stuff. It's really around being authentic. So if your blog post should be real stories. Your content should be like real. We've talked about this a couple of times, but what we want to do now is kind of show you how to do it. So, if my crowd here, my crew, the lovely people you all know, think that that's a good direction for us to kick off this call in, that's where I'm thinking we take it.
I think that's a great place to run with.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and we can jam on it afterwards, but I am literally just going to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. So I've got this really cool prompt I'm going to put in that would be what you would use if after you've got a client, you've recorded something so again, my clients I work with carpet cleaners. So this would be a very typical interaction. So say you had a transcript, right? Of a phone call and of one, so this would be me working with one of my cleaning clients. So not me being an agency owner, totally do that as well. We can talk about that afterwards, but sample. I fictionalize this to protect the guilty and the innocent, but Whitby, Ontario, Williamsburg area, bougie area, country lane. Customer was Megan. The company was this fake Durham Fresh carpet cleaning. Rough job debrief and lightly clean customer call notes from the date, May 13th, right? And so this would basically be your feeder data. Call it that. This would just be a short call about a condition that came in. So say you're a chiropractor and you've recording phone calls, or you've got some information. It's better to use the voice of the consumer. So use the real words they say. And those kinds of things really help in all kinds of marketing. Jen will tell you that about branding all day long. It's like, if you can speak in their language, you're talking to them, not your own mumbo jumbo jargon and stuff like that. So this is kind of how you get that, is these recordings, these calls. It's better than your own interpretation and filter on top of it. So we're going to start with that, if that makes sense. And we're going to put this prompt in right here, and I'll read it to you. But I am providing a raw transcript of a customer interview, job debrief. Do not rewrite it into any sort of polished marketing story. Act as an investigative journalist and extract the messy middle, the highly specific proprietary details, and that generic AI could never guess or fabricate. Right? We're going to be building bullets. We're going to exact local neighborhoods, specific weather conditions if they matter, the exact words the customer used, and all of that kind of stuff. So you're giving it really detailed instruction. We'll give you all these in the show notes as well, because these kinds of prompts, it's good at learning how to prompt well. We've talked about that before, even in the world of agents and stuff like that. But then I'm going to grab that copy from that other page right here. I'm just going to go edit, select all. It's easier than me saving it somewhere else. And I'm just going to add it to the bottom, make sure I'm at the bottom. And sometimes every time I go to try and add something to the bottom, it moves me back up to the top. But I'm going to do that. All right. I'm going to put the transcript. I'm just going to go submit.
It looks like you're using ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it in ChatGPT. We could actually bounce over to like Claude and see what Claude does. We know Claude's a better writing tool. ChatGPT 5 thinking now is considered one of the better research tools. It's a deeper thought. It just won the race recently. We were talking about that ahead of time as well. They just bounce around all the time. So, and Chris isn't on the call, so we don't have to put down ChatGPT right now. If he was here, he'd be telling him a liar. But it has won a few of the races recently. So, anyways, but it's just they just bounce around like crazy. And so yeah, we start with this one. So we got a messy middle, right? So instead of me reading it, what do you guys think of sort of the whole thing was just a customer that has stinky carpet. Literally, when it rains, the carpet still smells like dog. It dries out, doesn't smell like dog, right? And that was the whole thing. So, and what it pulled out of it was the location. Customer had family coming, long weekend, had a sliding door to the deck. It pulled that out. Customer noticed the odor as soon as they walk in from the garage and, didn't want this problem, right? So we talked a little bit about weather conditions, damp days, dogs, carpet smells like dog. If any of you guys have had dogs, especially labs or any, water dogs with the oil on the skin, that's even worse, right? So, that was their concern was, can we get rid of that smell? And is it still going to smell if it gets damp while my guests are here? Like if the weather gets damp, right? And then it pulled out the exact customer words, problem and frustration, and the usual material choices and technical details that would be involved in dealing with this on a carpet cleaning level. You would do a UV inspection, make sure it's not urine, all that kind of stuff. That's what a good carpet cleaner would do. So would be part of your blog post. That would be part of this debrief on this call. How can we turn this call and our solution into a really compelling, real, true, localized story? So
there's some amazing details that are being pulled out of here. And to your point, I like that we're calling this the messy middle, because it does show the authentic calls that they receive. And it does, it will start separating them out for when people are looking for that wet dog odor, how to resolve that.
And what do you notice, Brad? Like, what are some of the things that, thinking about AI overviews and the fact that we're dinking around with, taking a little transcript and turning it into a very detailed set of notes we can do something with?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is it is all shifting. Google in general, Google search. It's all switching to, there was some big rollouts this past week at the Google Summit or I/O Summit, whatever they call it. And it's some of the biggest shakeups in Google search in decades. And so it is becoming much more of an answer engine and ask engine when it comes to you're communicating with Google. Before it was just you're searching, it's going to spit out some answers or some companies. But now it's completely shifted, and it's continuing to shift more, which I'll share here in a few. But by what you're doing here, by putting together compelling, personalized, not just junky content, is really a huge nugget for today, because what you may have done a month ago, a year ago, when you put out content onto your website or your social or whatever you did, you've got to step it up now. So I think you're explaining it really well.
Yeah, and I think here's gold right here. Sorry to jump in, but you mentioned the word nugget, and my eyes were again, I ran carpet cleaning companies for 30 years, home cleaning companies. Please don't just spray perfume on it. I don't want it to smell like wet dog and fake lemons. That phrase right there, that is something that AI SEO, looking for answers, people talking and having a conversation with their AI now, not doing a keyword carpet cleaner near me and it goes to a carpet cleaning page on a website that's formatted well with the schema and blah blah blah. This is somebody going, I need to find somebody who can clean my carpets and I don't want to smell like wet dog and fake lemons.
Yes.
That's real world phrasing that AI is going to be able to pick up on and find an article written with that kind of terminology in it.
Yeah.
Yes. John, I know that, especially with what Brad was saying, and I know Jen will add some gold nuggets here, but do you want to go ahead and proceed with the second prompt that we're going to provide to our listeners and our viewers? Because I think that'll be extremely valuable for them. They go, okay, these are great statements, but now what do I do with it? What would make this content different than another batch of content that I wrote the last few weeks, the last few months? Because that's the thing, is the belief is out there is we have to do more, more, more. What we are saying is more was great, but having it authentic and different will actually allow you to move the needle more, because you won't have to write as much. You're going to actually answer those questions about having your carpet cleaned and not smell like lemons. So go ahead.
Yeah. And the one thing that we didn't, I'll read this prompt in a second too for anybody just listening, but the one thing we didn't mention is I'm doing this in a raw chat. Where should we all be doing this? Anyone?
Projects, or with your master prompt, at least.
Mr. Master Prompt, because right now, like, you're a company, if it knows everything about you, your services, your pricing, your unique sales proposition, risk reversal guarantee, founder story, impactful brand messaging, like all of that really cool stuff that's in a master prompt, it never has to ask you again. It bakes that into the answer. If you've got your founders, like I said, the founder story, you've got like, in your founder story, I got into this because when I was a kid, I had dogs and blah, 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 and all that. You've got localization. I used to go down by Cat's Creek too. If anybody's been down, their dog come in muddy feet after Cat's Creek, you know why I started a carpet cleaning business. Like, if that's part of your master prompt, how that weaves into your website, you are no longer a commodity amongst all the carpet cleaners in town. And AI knows it. So
absolutely.
Take the messy middle, details above, and format it into an answer engine optimization content block. AI search engines like Perplexity, Google AI overviews prefer structured Q&A format, which is true. Little hack tip for anybody who does their own SEO, or if you got an SEO company that doesn't know this, and in the carpet cleaning world, call me. I'll jump on a strategy session with us. We'll talk about it, but we'll diagnose your site. But if you do not have H2s and H3s, H4 is a little bit as well, that are questions, not statements. And then the very first line after it answers it, not only FAQs, but you can build the entire content map out of questions and answers that AI needs to pick up on. It's just a little hack right now that you should have on your service pages, service area pages and stuff like that. Questions as your headings, not just statements. Anyways, so it's talking about that right there. Create 3 highly specific FAQ pairs based only on the details of the messy middle. Do not introduce any information that is not in the transcript. For each pair, the question phrase exactly how a frustrated local customer would search for it, specific suburbs, specific problem types, answer under 3 sentences, get straight to the point. And obviously I didn't write this, and then format it clearly. And we're going to see what it comes out with.
But I think that pulling this in, you can hear how it's different now. And to your point about looking at their websites, making sure that it's properly formatted, take the time to go back through your old blogs. That's another way to really add those customer stories to the blogs, what the experience is in those old blogs, and rearrange, adding that questions at the top. To your point, we have to think of it how the newspapers used to do it. Don't bury the headline. So AI is looking for question and answer it first. Don't make it go through multiple paragraphs to get to that answer, because you're going to be ignored.
Yeah. And look at this. Why did my carpet in Whitby's Williamsburg area smell like dogs again when it rains? In the Megan R job near Country Lane and Taunton Road, the smell became noticeable during a damp spring week when the house was closed up because of rain and pollen. The issue was older pet spots near sliding doors, humidity, blah, 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 blah. Right? Why? This was, on one of our jobs, this was the reason. Right? Now AI is going, hey, maybe you got this, maybe you got that. These guys are saying there might be this, right? Can pet odors in a Whitby family living, a family room carpet come back after already been cleaned? Right? And then, yes, the customer had used some store-bought sprays and rental machine after winter pet accidents, every time it rains, the house smells bad again. Yes, of course. And again, these are great FAQs that are getting us started on, and I'll stop my screen share right now, but on the next level of like how you take that now and turn those into, like, we got FAQs content, we've got blog post content and all that kind of stuff, and we can kind of grow upon it just from one customer story, from one phone call transcript so far.
Jen, you've been quiet. Before we jump into FAQs of what we can do with those, what expert advice would you offer?
Well, I'm thinking back. So a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that it was my, I shared, it was a kind of a big story at the time that Google is really like de-indexing content that is just the same as everything else. And like, I don't think that I really articulated it well enough, because in and of itself, that's really not a big story. Like, of course, Google has been de-indexing garbage content for a very long time. But the difference is that now, whether it's being de-indexed or whether your business isn't being surfaced in AI overviews or LLMs, it's the same. It's because you don't have these experience moments, these authentic bits that are in your content. And there are thousands, I'm sure, blog content out there about wet dog odor. Like it's I mean, like if they're all the same, we can only go deep enough on the authoritativeness enough, or the expertise. Like we can only go so deep on that, which is what we, as marketers and in general, what we've been doing for a really long time. We've been really focused on going in on that. Like, we're going to be the authority on this topic, like going deep on that. And I think a lot of people, maybe Google's EAT, EEAT, the experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. For a long time, I think people were like, well, okay, experience and expertise, or experience and authoritativeness, like what's the difference? This is the difference, folks, right here. The experience that that company can pull in from Megan R, from that transcript, from that's very specific experience of working with that customer. That is something that I can write all day long about wet dog odor and not get that. And that experience, that is what the AI is looking for. So if you're not including that, start adding it immediately. And if you're not including it, I mean, I'm not even kidding. Stop what you're doing. Stop producing content until you start adding that, because unless you're adding it, you're wasting your time.
That is. You mentioned Laura last time, one of the last couple of episodes, that it was just recently, within the last 3 weeks, whatever, Google's algorithm is updated, and people are just noticing it's not even de-indexed; it just doesn't exist. Like the content that is just the same that we're talking about is gone, right?
Gone,
and because Google's going, I'm smarter now. You can't hack my algorithm. We're just getting smarter every day with AI. And I know like that's just, as you said, Jen, that's just the same stuff. That's just somebody, and that's how we used to do it as marketers. Like AI would do that too. Go around and look at 100 different websites about and content and articles about wet dog and write you one. And a lot of people are still doing that right now. I need a blog post today about this. Okay, I'm putting that on my website. And they thought they're all fancy pants about it because for the last year, they're they're writing their own blog posts now, right? In the world of agencies, doing this kind of a deep dive, we just showed how to do it, but doing that, turning it into website content, FAQs, Google posts, social posts, video scripts, using some AI to create some videos, getting the customer to create some videos. You could take 1 or 2 or 3 customer stories as an agency and build a much better content wheel for clients that are too busy to do all of this, and then parse it out the next level. Because again, what we showed is that's what you should be doing, but there is still a lot of things that you need to do with it. Getting an AEO citation isn't absolutely guaranteed or anything like that. Wondering, Brad, what do you have to throw in on that? Having been in the SEO world longer, probably many years longer than I have been. So,
well, I think that you laid out some good ideas and groundwork of how it's shifting and how it's changing. I'll do a really quick dive on real life, what it looks like, and how so much has changed with Google. And it's gonna be snowballing how fast it changes, because the rollouts are just now coming out. Laura and I talked about this on one of our other shows the other day. Not everybody will see the exact same thing and have all the same exact features in your Google account, whether that's workspace account or your Google personal pro account or whatever it is. But I'm just going to share real quick just to show you what I feel ties into this. All right. So what's really happening, in my opinion, is it's becoming much more of a conversational answer and ask situation, because you can now talk to your car, and Google's baked into that if you have Android Auto or whatever the case may be. You're talking to your phone. You're asking questions to Google Gemini on the app on your phone. So in this case, I just did one, and I spoke it. Where's a good RV repair shop in Southern California? It works on Renegades. Renegade is a type of RV. That's what I used to have. So right off the bat, it's not showing me maps first like it used to. It's not showing me organic SEO results down here first anymore, right? I don't even see any ads yet. There are no ads showing. So that's why I feel that I just did a report for a client saying your Google ads numbers are down, and this is why. So in this case, all I just said was Southern California. I didn't even ask for a city, but it's pulling in the AI overview right here. And so right off the bat, it's telling me a lot of information here. It's saying ask anything, right? So I can ask something from here, so I can have a conversation with this. It's telling me if I need complex warranty work or this, that, or the other thing. It's telling me some things here. But I think it's important, we've touched on this before, is these sources, right? Yelp, Renegade RV, Redlands Truck and RV. You look over here, you have even more sources over here. So it's going to pull stuff in here. What John just showed you is by putting stories, by having relevant information, not just the same old stuff. And so I think this is important. You can, highlight these as well. Another thing that Laura and I noticed the other day is in John, I saw the same thing in ChatGPT, is if I highlight maybe just these two things right here, I don't see it today. Remember, Laura, there was one where you could move this down, like you could highlight it, and then it would take.
And this is one of those, adjustments that they're making, but it was ask. It would literally say ask, and then you would just click it, and it'd be able to pull in more. So maybe in AI mode. And the other thing too, as you're getting that feature, they pointed out that it's been nearly 25 years since they made a difference in the home screen of Google search, and that is expanding to a conversation. So what would accept a few keywords or anything at one time now expands with people not even realizing they're using AI. I know we've touched on that before, but they're finding people are searching longer. Initially, people were saying, well, people just aren't searching anymore. No, they're searching longer, because as Brad's getting more information about repairing, he can go deeper and deeper and say, well, actually, it's this, we're having this issue with, XYZ on the RV. But yes, there was a little pop-up that said, ask me. There it is. It's back now on this particular screen.
So then it puts it into your question, your conversation here with Google, right? So I've highlighted a piece out of this information. Then I can talk to it about that piece. I mean, it's just evolving so fast.
And it remembers context. So think of when you're using ChatGPT, it's not a search engine. So Google announced, and the sensational headline just came out a day or two ago, Google's announced that their official transition to AI only search. Kind of a fake headline a little bit. But what they're talking about is AI powered search, multimodal search, because 1 in 6 searches on the internet right now are people uploading a picture or an audio or something like that. Right now, the other stat right now is you can just go to blog.google.com and look into their AI search. And the blog that just came out, what was that?
2 days ago?
So 3 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 1 billion. There's over 1 billion monthly active users using AI mode queries, right? Monthly. And it's been doubling. What was that? I was reading the article here just earlier, but it's every so like it's at a exponential doubling pace. It's doing that whole, if we remember from statistics class, somebody can tell me what it was called because I did not pay attention. But where it kind of goes, and then all of a sudden you do exponential, right? That there's the compounding effect is happening, and that's where we're at. We felt it. We've talked about it a year ago, January. 1% of people use chat for anything, right? For really, it was 1% that use it as a daily habit. As of the last number I heard, it was somewhere around 60% are using an AI chat something. Their friend, my sister's one she calls Fabio, and for all of their life questions and decisions, not their best friend, not their neighbor, right? They're not even talking to their dogs anymore and their cats. They're actually ignoring them. They're getting lonely too. There's a whole mental health crisis happening in the dog and cat world because people have now turned and having their conversations with their $1,000 machines on their hip, as Chris calls it, right? So, and that's changing search. So Google is changing the way the screen looks and everything to give you AI first, AI powered. And there will be a day where the entire rest of it will disappear because people will just not go there. And because they don't go there, Google will side with the user experience and say, if you're not going there, we're not going to show it to you. Right. And you have to hit a legacy mode of some sort to go back and, just like I still print things off and carry them into the house to read them over the weekend with a highlighter. You're going to need a legacy mode for me to go back and scroll down to page 1 and page 2. But for everybody else, coming behind me, they're going to go, no, that's so old school, dog. We're just asking questions, getting answers and carrying on with life.
Well, I know you just opened up. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, you're good, Laura.
I was just going to say that obviously opens up many different rabbit holes that we could go. And the only one that I'll mention is Ask YouTube. YouTube Ask is coming, where that when you're now in there, we're not seeing it quite yet. So I know in an upcoming episode, we'll highlight that because again, it will matter. Make sure that you have it. So if we can just go ahead and take a step back to the screen that you were showing, John, and look at those FAQs as to how we can use them. So now that we have them, we feel like it's AEO content that, again, as humans, as the experts in our businesses, we highly recommend look at it, finish it out, take it the last 10% to make sure that this matters. How would you answer those questions if someone was calling? Once you have them, make sure you've updated your website or include FAQs within your blog. Make sure, as John mentioned, that everything's formatted properly in order to be easily recognized by the AI and be able to pull forth. The other thing too is we have received the question as to, wait a minute, can't I just go into my Google business profile and update my Q&As? Unfortunately, those were retired because of the path that Google is going down. The Q&A that we used to be able to put in the Google business profiles are no longer. So John, if you want to go ahead and drop the third prompt in about the FAQs and actually taking your formatting it properly for the Google business profile, you do want to take the opportunity as a business owner to make sure, one, you've claimed it, and two, you've optimized it. And now you want to use those questions in your Google post. So don't forget, that is an easy area where people might be posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the other social media. They may be ignoring Google business profile. This is an excellent way to take these FAQs, create them in a way that they're now a post. And then to your point, I know that it was mentioned here by the group, we can also use and ask it to create a short video script and do those video scripts. Take that $1,000 machine out of your pocket, do a quick video answering these questions, because as we saw with Brad's demonstration, YouTube is cited. They will bring some over when people are asking about the wet dog. odor in the house, it will bring in your video that you just answered. So John's dropping in a third prompt that will also be in our show notes that really asked. And John, I don't know whether you want to go into any more detail of it, but
yeah, I'll just say, I just put the prompt in, and instead of like, sometimes you might want to limit context, just so you know. So like, say if you're doing this inside your project folder or whatever, it's got your master prompt in it, you could take the output of this, and just so it does, again, we all know AI, as you get used to it, you've given it a bunch of stuff, it's come up with a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's nice to say, hey, just this. So you copy that out, you start a new chat, or what I did here, only use the 3 FAQ pairs above. That's another way to do it. Just kind of like, again, instructions aren't 100%. They think of them as raising kids. You really, really, really try to get them to clean their bedroom. May not happen by the time grandma shows up. Just might not, just so we know. So same idea. This is AI is sort of like, a bit of a disruptive child. So, but, we're going to take those 3 pairs and we're going to create 3 different outputs. One is a website FAQ page. The other one is Google Posts. And the third one is a review response template. Think of it as well, like I'm going to let this run while I'm talking, but if you're on the phone with somebody even, and they're asking a question about that, can you get rid of wet dog smells? Yes, I get rid of wet dog smells, right? Cool. There's no influence of that. If anybody's gone through any Richard Bandler NLP training, any persuasion training, stuff like that, add a pickup artist if that there's a whole crowd about that, all that kind of stuff. That is definitely not a good line. But if you turned around and said, well, yeah, actually, no, there's this one client of ours just recently, in fact, had this wet dog smell, blah, 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 did all this, did all that. They were in the Williamsburg area or whatever it was. Yep. I got that right. Anyways. And here's what we did, and here's how it turned out, and here's what they said. And we've got that entire case study on our website, or we've got it here. We've got it in a Google Post. Can I send you that link? Isn't that a different conversation you just had on the phone too? So as you're doing this, it feels real and authentic, right? So channel 1, website FAQ. There's your question. There's your answer. Channel 2, Google Post. Does your carpet smell like dog again after it rains? Right? So now a Google Post, a question and answer on a recent carpet cleaning job in Williamsburg. We know that in the world of SEO, AI picking up signals, the more personalized the output, even in Google Posts are, the descriptions you put with images, all of that, that's all getting picked up. So now we have just hyper-personalized, hyper-localized this right down to give us a call, for a quote. And then review response. Thanks so much, Megan. We're glad we could help with the carpet cleaning and the pet odor treatment in Williamsburg home. That sliding door area had a really tricky mix of old pet spots, wet paw traffic, winter salt, blah, blah, blah. We're really happy the room smelled neutral again the next morning, right? So not flowery. And that was, again, a lot of my clients, they didn't want the house to smell like lemons or running through a field of flowers or any of that kind of stuff, right? They just didn't want it to smell at all. They just wanted neutral so that if they had potpourri, they had a candle going, that's what they could smell. Not the carpet, the upholstery being left with a strong fragrance that maybe they didn't even choose. People are pretty picky about their fragrances. They go to stores and sniff 20, 30 candles before they buy the one. So why should I be the guy that chooses your smell? So there you go.
And with that, number 3, that's if somebody's listening to, or watching this and says, I don't have those client communications that you're showing those transcripts. To your point, write down the question if you're getting the phone call. But also, too, we visited this, I think last week, was look at your reviews. If you have a 2-star review, that could give you great value as to what they were looking for, what they were asking, and how you can solve it. So look at what your reviews are coming in, and you're able to not only get a response that you can drop in, but it starts the conversation, and it can show how you will solve that problem.
That's right. Well, I think we covered a lot, and I know we got a couple injured reserve on the show today. So, I think we continue on next week and dive a little deeper, because we know there'll be new stuff next week, right?
Absolutely.
And,
I'm going to give them all a bit of homework, just so you know, because I run the coaching program as well. So, and I like to give homework at the end of those episodes. So, or those live trainings. So, don't overthink this. Like, if you don't have transcripts of phone calls and that, just grab your phone into an audio note, into ChatGPT, anywhere, and just tell a story. Like, talk about a customer that had a specific problem and where they were. Like, you don't have to give their full name and their address or whatever, but where they were, name the suburb, name the obstacle, use the customer's words if you can remember them, and just tell a story. Create your own initial transcript and then run some of these prompts and see what you get and see if any light bulbs go off on how that could update all of your content anywhere. The one other prompt we could have done is like, hey, how do you turn any of these into a short form video script? Why everybody loves those shorts and reels. You never know what to say. You get an app like Big View, grab your phone. All Big View is takes those words, puts them into a teleprompter. All these fancy people that are doing, grab their phone and walk around and talk. I know a bunch of them. Half of them, they're reading a script. They're just as good as a news reporter. They get good at it after the 10th, 15th, 20th time. It scrolls. They're just reading it. It looks like they're just having a good old time telling you a story. And they're reading it because they had AI help them write it first, dropped it into a tool like Big View, and then just walked around with their phone and talked. So this doesn't have to be hard, and AI can be a really good assistant to help you get to that point. Well, I think we put a pin in it. So yeah, as always, definitely follow, subscribe. If you like these types of episodes where we're kind of giving you the actions, the tools, the insights, the background, jamming on it like we always do, but with the takeaways, check the show notes, go join the community, AI Marketing Experts Insiders, Amy Insiders community, and that's all in the show notes as well. And you'll have these prompts there that you can download and use yourself, and highlights of the episode and reminders and things to pay attention to and stuff like that. So just a lot of good stuff to recap on as well. And eventually at some point when AI or when YouTube comes out with the Ask YouTube as well, you can ask YouTube what we just said and how it all means for you and what to do with it next as well. So anyways, if that makes sense to everybody, definitely share us out to everybody. And until next time, thanks for showing up.